Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh everyone. I am Amal Kasiba.
I'm Muhammad Harith.
I am Azia Jamil.
And I am Nurul Afika.
And we're from Group 10!
We are. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, education by definition is the act or process of teaching or of being taught. An individual may receive an education from educational institution as well as through their experience beyond and outside of school.
In 1977, 313 scholars gathered in Mecca at the First World Conference on Islamic Education. They reached the consensus view that education should aim at the balanced growth of the total personality of man through the training of man's spirit, intellect, rational self, feelings, and bodily senses. The training imparted to a Muslim must be such that faith infused into the whole of his personality and creates in him an emotional attachment to Islam and enables him to follow the Quran and the Sunnah and be governed by the Islamic system of values willingly and joyfully, so that he may proceed to the realization of his status as Khalifatullah, to whom Allah has promised the authority of the universe.
In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explicitly instructed His Prophet to ask him to increase him in knowledge.
وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا.
And say, My Lord, increase me in knowledge.
By commanding His Prophet, Allah has commanded all of mankind to ask Allah for knowledge. The Messenger of Allah himself gave glad tidings to anyone who undertakes the task of seeking knowledge. He said, For him who embarks on the path of seeking knowledge, Allah will ease for him the way to paradise.
In essence, Islamic education aims to produce good and righteous men who worship and serve Allah in line with the Quranic verse that says, I have created the jinn and the man only to worship me. Surah Ad-Dariyat verse 56.
Islam is the basic foundation in the life of most Bruneians and hence the basis for the formation of the educational system in Brunei can be said to be guided by the Islamic philosophy of education. Brunei Darussalam's educational philosophy is founded on the national philosophy of a Malay Islamic monarchy which also incorporates the two key elements of Naqli which bases from the Holy Quran and Hadith and Aqli which bases from our own reasoning.
Brunei Darussalam's education system adopts the idea that any education should contain both Islamic and worldly knowledge. These values are taught across the curriculum, keeping in view the teachers and the students' education orientation, the teaching materials, the conception of conducive learning environment, and so on. These elements will guarantee Brunei's system in creating well-rounded individuals who are knowledgeable, skillful, faithful, pious, and of good, excellent character.
We identified there were four major components of modern knowledge that challenges the Islamic education, namely globalism, dualism, secularism, and media technology, with dualism being one of the most prominent issues in Brunei. In relation to that, the Ministry of Education has implemented the Integrated Education System, IES, in all primary schools, which lasted for 2 years from 2004 to 2005 as a response to solve the Muslim dilemma of the dual system of education.
What makes dualism an issue? To answer this question, we interviewed a few students for their opinions on the dual education system.
So the problem with dualism in educational systems is that they aim to create holistic students that are good in every field of subjects that they offer. But the problem is that not all students can cope with the pressures of having so much on their plate and being expected to perform well in different areas of the education system, which causes them to break down, which causes them to be emotionally unstable.
We tend to choose modern sciences more rather than studying both. It's quite difficult. Even when we were still young, we were told that modern sciences are more better than these religious subjects. Even at home or at school, when we were young, they told us that modern sciences, if we studied it, we have better future, better jobs.
And which also causes them to focus on one area that they really like the most, and thus not fulfilling the idea of holistic students and holistic education. So that's one of the main problems of it.
Everyone agrees that education is hugely important. The thing is, we're not particularly sure what we want from it. The aim of education should be to prepare us for the challenges of adult life. Yet from this perspective, it's clear that schools fail all but a tiny portion of their students. Whether in highly academic private schools or in deprived government-run ones, trouble dealing with life's challenges remains very widespread indeed. Human ingenuity, energy, goodwill and talent is being lost on an industrial scale. To get more ambitious about education doesn't necessarily mean spending more money, building more schools, employing more teachers, or making exams more difficult. Rather, it should mean focusing more on the real purpose of education. There are two fundamental tasks it should help us with: working and sustaining good relationships.
One of it is the lack of awareness on the issue of dualism of education. Despite the fact that the issue of dualism in education is currently a significant topic of discussion within Muslim societies, it is found in the research studies from SOASIS that local educators are far behind in realizing this issue, possibly because they have not been exposed to the matter.
Other than that, many misunderstood this education system is a way for the Brunei government to force Islamization as well as to patronize the Bruneian society, when in all actuality the IES is actually the answer to dualism problem, that is to provide comprehensive education that concentrates on the physical, spiritual and emotional needs of learners. This system is seen to emphasize on the importance of Islamic faith, however still delivering general knowledge to the people.
And finally, the cultures and the attitudes of the locals. Normally, teachers would work only half a day daily, but when the IES system was introduced, they're required to work in the morning and in the afternoon. This results in the reluctance among the teachers, where they claimed that the long hours resulted in stress and restlessness.
Turut menjadi penting, malah utama, ialah bidang kajian dan penyelidikan ilmu, kerana belumlah dianggap berjaya sesebuah pusat pengajian tinggi itu kalau ia belum atau tidak menerokai bidang ini. Khasnya pendidikan agama adalah terlalu banyak isu boleh dikaji. Misalnya, mengapakah pendidikan agama itu dianggap penting dan malah wajib untuk dipelajari? Dari segi apakah ia penting? Dan kalau betul ia penting, mengapakah Brunei sampai tercicir 50 tahun tidak mewajibkannya? Dan apakah kesannya dari 50 tahun ia tidak diwajibkan itu?
In conclusion, Islam demands in its nature require that all forms of knowledge must be helpful to the society. Furthermore, as noted by Afzalur, when education is stripped of any religious or moral values, it will eventually result in a society with a broken down social system.
Of every person, whether man or woman, it is their right and it's their duty to get education. And Prophet, peace be upon him, also said that even if you have to go to China, go there, but get education, but get knowledge. And we can see that how much Prophet loved knowledge